Okay, so don't let anyone tell you that these videos aren't hard to record because I just went almost a minute through my first one and had to delete it. So bear with me while I get my bearings and get used to recording because I'm not used to seeing myself or listening to myself. But I appreciate you bearing with me. So I want to talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict today, which is, I believe, known as the Fourth Gaza War. And the first three Gaza Wars, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there were three before this, three conflicts between the Palestinian state of Gaza and the Israeli state. Um, the other three were not as drawn out as this one is, and finally, it seems like Israel has just said, "We've had enough of you terrorizing us and basically being upset at us for existing." And on, in my opinion, on October 7th, when Hamas struck, they did so in a way that they knew would strike at the heart of Israel. They did it in the middle of the night. They did it as a sneak attack, basically. And they did it, the things that they've been accused of doing to Israeli citizens, also keeping them hostage for all this time. It's been what, I guess, over 6 months. Can you imagine being one of those hostages, being kidnapped and being a hostage for over 6 months, almost 7 months? It's terrible. I can't even imagine the ungodly things that have been done to those hostages, and I can't. Yeah, I don't even want to go there. That's terrible. So I'm of the opinion that the attack was unprovoked, and Israel has shown that they basically let the Palestinians exist unobstructed for a very long time. And this is the thanks that they get for not exercising what they could have been doing the whole time, which is a lot of what we've been seeing going on since October 7th, which, in my opinion, is a show of force over this. I don't know if you even call it the state of Gaza, Palestinian state of Gaza, but basically Israel has been taking it to Gaza and Hamas within the borders of Gaza, which to me I think shows that they could have been doing this the whole time to a people that want to see them wiped off the face of the earth. And of course, I'm talking about the Palestinians and what they would like to happen to the Jews. I don't want to make this too much of a history lesson because I think we all know we're all aware of the lead up, some more than others, obviously, but the lead up to World War II and why that happened and the role that Hitler played and his disdain for the Jews and the Nazi Party and their disdain for the Jewish people. So I don't want to make this too much about that, but we all know that those lines, you can draw parallels, I guess is what I'm trying to say, between that conflict and this. So we definitely don't need to go down that road. We've seen where that leads to, and that gets a lot of people hurt, maybe killed, for a reason that is not valid in the first place. Those are my views on the conflict as a whole. I think Israel could have been doing this the whole time if they wanted to, but now they're striking back as a retaliatory decision that the government has made to make sure that this never happens again. I think that it's important to note that what's been going on college campuses primarily in the last week, maybe longer than a week, I forget, but to my eye it's been about a week of protests sweeping the city. It's been pretty terrible to see that on national news. It's been a black eye to the United States of America. It's made police look bad. It's put police in a tough position, and it's put administrators in what I don't view as a very tough decision, but it's been hard for them to make a decision clearly. And, to be honest with you, the President of the United States hasn't really made very good decisions regarding what he hasn't been decisive. I can say that. He's obviously doing what's in his best interest politically, he feels, but he hasn't been very decisive on what he thinks about. He hasn't taken a stand, which I think is going to prove to be a mistake. I also think that the kids need something better to do than to just sit around and join mobs on very expensive college campuses that, especially during the end of the semester, there's a lot better things that those students should be doing. And then some of them, obviously are not students, so they shouldn't have any business being there, especially not at this time of the year in the first place, in my opinion. So somebody should look into that, because it's obviously being funded by somebody somewhere, if not in an organized way, maybe in a piecemeal way by something, it seems like, in my opinion, but maybe I'm wrong. And yeah, I think it's just an embarrassment for the country as a whole to have to put up with people that don't stand for the values of what this country was founded upon, yet they use the liberties afforded to them by the founding fathers in a way that basically they use the liberties against the country that's affording them liberties in the first place, is I guess what I'm trying to say. And I think that's an embarrassment, and there's not much you can do about it, because the right thing to do is to afford the liberties to be able to do that. But it again puts the state, law enforcement, the different administrations of the schools in a tough position. And yeah, I don't even want to get into amnesty or, them getting a pass for all this. I don't have any time for that. I think it's ridiculous that some group of people can basically hold you with one hand behind your back in order to fight them, and basically hold you hostage and say that the only way that they're going to stop doing something is if you let them go for doing it in the first place and don't punish them. And I think that would be a mistake if they were to get amnesty, and that's just my opinion. So these were some of the things that I wanted to touch on today, and if you're able to make it through the video, I appreciate you. taking 10 minutes or so to listen to this. I'm signing off. It's probably going to go to bed soon. So have a nice night. And yeah, we'll see what this turns into. Thanks.